thank the ranking member and certainly Kevin Brady for his leadership on Ways and Means. And Kevin, from one Kevin to another, thank you so much. I read a lot about, obviously everybody goes to the source of all persons' background, Wikipedia. And I think it's pretty amazing that in '99 you wrote a book called 36,000 and we're at 36,000 and some change today. So I wish I'd invested with you some 23 years ago. But in all seriousness, and this is a very serious issue, what's going on with taxation, and you pointed out some of the positive attributes of the 2017 Tax Cut and Jobs Act. And just today, a very timely article came out in the Wall Street Journal on the editorial page, if you saw this, that if the reconciliation bill passes, that we will be the highest tax developed nation in the OECD countries. It's some 57.4% when you combine state and local tax. We know, and I have to believe that the Biden administration knows this as well. They're not idiots over there, that is not a good position to be in. I think one of the things that we know is it's deliberate, and they know if there's anything that's going to be transitory, this economy will be very transitory in a sense that it will not sustain any kind of upward mobility if we continue down this way of taxing our corporations. I want to get into this concept of dead weight loss. That's sort of an interesting concept of what happens. I think you alluded to this, and we talk about it on both sides, right? If you put more dollars in, as a person been in business 35 years before becoming Congress 3 years ago, when you tax something more, that's how you really shut it down. And they're going to push these corporations around the world, and Yellen in her infinite wisdom is going to raise GILTI and mitigate FDII so that she can capture more tax dollars. The problem is those tax dollars are going to be generated by foreign workers, not American workers. And so if you could just talk about, from an economic standpoint, what you see happening with these increase in tax and what this does to us when we take us out of the middle of the pack of OECD and put us at the top, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. Before President Trump took office, we had a decade where there was basically no wage growth. And the reason there was no wage growth is that if you want wages to go up, then you need to have more capital to work with. If I'm more productive this year than I was last year, then I either went to school and got smart, or they gave me a better machine. And because of the Democrats' war on capital formation, there was basically really, really weak capital stock growth. In fact, in 2016, right before President Trump took office, it was the lowest it had been. The contribution to growth from capital stock growth was the lowest it had been since World War II. And so their war on capital made it so that wages for ordinary folks didn't grow. And then President Trump came in and he said, I'm going to give you $4,000 if you give me the tax cuts. I remember Mr. Brady citing that very often. And in fact, it ended up being $6,800 that they got because we got capital stock growth and then we got wage growth. And now the Biden administration, again, is reversing it. And I really can't understand why. Right? So you have everybody's talking about stagnant wages for a decade, and then suddenly they're not stagnant. And so why are the other members, the Democratic members of the Ways and Means Committee, not curious? Why is it that wages started to grow? Why is it that income inequality went down? Why is it that African-American unemployment was the lowest on record? Why did all those things happen when we cut the corporate tax? So if it's not the corporate tax, what's your alternative explanation for it? They don't have one. And I think if they look inside their hearts, they're going to see that they're going to be hurting ordinary Americans if they pass this bill.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being on the call with us today.